Hello, folks. Thanks for tuning in to this second episode of Between Both Cheeks WAXcast. I'd like to introduce the hostess for this episode, Luba, the owner of Wax Hair Removal Bar and all-around badass boss bitch. Holly, the international all-star esthetician, and Becca. She's got that yearning for learning, she's new to the business, and we call her the Egg.
Bush in Kazakhstan will laugh when we hear the name because a bush means the hair around the testes section.
Bring me your balls.
No, Kelly Clarkson!
Hello, and thank you for tuning into another week of WAXcast. With me, I have Luba, owner and CEO and badass bitch, and then Holly Hayes, lead trainer, esthetician, Holly the hair ripper, and I am Becca Hislop. I'm an egg. I'm figuring it out as I go, and this is your next episode of WAXcast.
Between both cheeks.
Yes!
Yay!
Where all the dirt happens.
Yeah, literally. Talk about beauty. What did I say? Beauty, bucks, and butts.
That's good.
Is that okay?
That's what happens.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So this episode we're talking about, so we ended the first one with the stores were being built, right? So now we're going to go into, they're being built, we got to hire staff. And I'm going to be awesome at this because I have zero experience. But I've hired a lot of people, so like I think I'm a good judge of character.
Right?
Yeah, people are people. Waxing is easy, right?
Should be.
My girl Jacqueline used to dance when she waxed me, so I was like easy peasy. So we're building the stores, and I'm building the Vancouver one first. And Jake, who was my friend at the time, now my forever fiance, looked at my business plan and said to me, "You're never going to make any money."
Wow.
Yeah, right? And I'm very much a person, like, if you tell me that I can't do it, I'm going to do it 10 times.
You're going to do it.
Yes.
I'm going to do it 10 times better than you ever thought that I couldn't do it. So,
Just like when your mom said, start your corporate job.
yeah, I was like, here, I'm going to mortgage my condo, give up my entire freaking life and see
Just to
how,
prove you wrong.
see how this idea goes.
You should have said yes.
God. So he tells me I'm not going to make any money. He's helping me build the store. And he says to me, I think it was something along the lines like, if you do $1,000 in sales in a day, in your first month of being open, you can wax me.
Okay.
And I was like, yes, easy. Like easy, right? So I think it was within the first week or maybe possibly the second week. I'm at the front desk because I worked the front desk for years and years. And it was like $392, $459, $786, $998. And I'm spinning in my chair. I was like, yes, I was so excited for this. And then I think it was like 1,011 or something. It came in.
111.
Oh my God, yeah. It was like 1,011 or something. And I text him, bring me your balls. Because if I'm going to wax something, it's like, plus we were just friends, so like I needed to see the goods.
Of course.
Right?
For
Of
your
course.
son, Elise, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm so excited, and I'm only using soft wax at this time. I'm so excited. I was like, this is going to be so much fun. Like, Jacqueline looks like she's having such a good time when she waxes me. Like, this is going to be amazing. You know, I get everything ready. All the sticks are out. The wax is warm. I'm testing it. So he comes in slightly intoxicated with his buddy. The store's closed.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, we're still building at this time. Were we still building? Yeah. And no one's in there. Comes in with his buddy, and he's like, "Okay, like, what do I do?" And I was like, "Please remove everything from the waist down. There's
Like
some
a true
wipes. Yeah,
professional.
there's some wipes here for you for your convenience, front to back, and just lay on the table with this little modesty towel here, and I'll knock before I come in." I was like, "God, I'm so excited." So I go in the room, take the towel off, and I dip the stick in the wax, and I apply it. And it's like freaking butter. Like it's going. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is great. And now I look and I'm like, holy shit.
How do I get this off?
There's like a lot of wax here. So I opened the
not be
drawer
like butter.
and there was, at the time, there was 2 different sizes of strips. There was like this long strip like this, like probably a foot long, I don't know, maybe less. And then there was like these smaller, skinnier ones. And I was like, wow, all this wax. I was going to take
big one.
the big one. Right? I lay it on and I rip in the wrong direction. I've never heard a grown man shriek like that in my life.
Still.
I put the strip back on, I rip it the other way,
Yeah.
and now there's blood. And I was like, and he's like, I'm freaking bleeding. What's going on? And I'm like, this is good. I'm getting it from the root because you just gotta go with it, right? You just gotta be like, oh, you
You
can't.
make it till you make it.
Yes, you can't like make them think you don't know.
Yeah.
So this went on for quite some time, and I did like the top area of his bikini. His buddy busted in and took photos, was taking like photos as I was doing this. And then finally Jake looks at me and he's like, just do it. Just do my freaking balls.
Yeah.
Do it already. Get it over with.
Yeah, let me out of
A
it.
bet's a bet.
Yep.
And I literally just kind of like bend down and I whisper in his ear, I think that if I wax your balls, I'm going to split them open and they're going to fall out. Like I had scared myself so bad
Yeah.
that I was
Lots
like,
of things can go wrong.
holy jeez, this is brutal. Like this is insane. So that was the waxing story. Then Jake says to me, he gets dressed after it. He's like, you're not going to make any money. That was the most pain I've ever been in. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do any of the services. And he looks at me and he goes, you're not an esthetician?
Penny dropped.
And I was like, no. And he's like, you own a waxing salon. How are you not an esthetician? And I was like, I just run the business.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have people do this for the store. Like I'm gonna do the business side. So this entire time he thought I was a licensed professional, and this was like the worst thing ever. Probably for like, I don't know, like a good 3 months, maybe even longer, he looked like a child with acne down here. Like he had the worst ingrowns. Even when we opened the business and he would like come in and like sit and wait for me, if he heard anyone like in any sort of discomfort, he would immediately break out in a sweat and have to leave.
Oh,
I was like,
PTSD.
completely.
It's very traumatizing.
Yeah. One of the other girls that I had hired, estheticians like to lie on resumes. I've noticed.
Yep. Do they ever?
So she says she's experienced with male waxing Brazilians. So she calls me up and she goes, do you mind if I stay and do some practicing on my boyfriend for Brazilians? I said, yeah, no worries. She calls me up, she goes, panic, full panic. His balls are stuck to the table with the wax and I can't get it off. What do I do? I was like, I don't have the answer, but I should have the answer because I'm the owner. And I say, there's a blow dryer in the back. There's a blow dryer in the back. Warm up the wax.
Melt it. Let's melt it down again so it'll run
Like
off
if
the
you
wax.
get a crayon stuck in a carpet, you take an iron on it, and you melt the wax, and it comes out of the carpet.
Yeah.
But the best, Becca, you found that little hair dryer the other day.
I did.
It's like
And-
12's vintage. It's 12 years old.
It's quite old. It's not the classic design of a hair dryer. So much so that when Holly found it, she didn't know what it was. She thought it was like a sex toy because it's just a tube that blows air out of it. It doesn't have the handle and the nice like cylinder. It's just a tube that blows air.
But we had this little tube because we were coloring pubes at the beginning. That was like the big rage,
I thought
right?
we were meant to be removing them. Not
Yes, but when they left, the people that left the strip,
Yeah,
if they wanted like a
or
bright
purple,
pink, like
it's hot.
right? So I had this little curling iron blow dryer thing where you just
Yeah.
took off the top and it was like,
Yeah, it's like a little tiny tube.
yeah. So that was what I told her
on
to
his
use.
balls, and
Yeah.
what happened?
I don't know. I just assumed that it worked.
Eventually, he got unstuck.
Eventually got
He was able to
unstuck.
walk
My guess
away.
is like, God bless him. I don't know. It was.
Did they stay together? Did they break up?
I don't think they were together for long. Actually, that was probably it.
That may have been it.
That was it. Then when we were building the store in Vegas, oh my goodness, this was tough, right? Because I was a foreigner, And we were in construction. So there was a hotel across the street from the store. And I brought down one of Ashley, my spicy Italian. I brought her down, and she was going to do the training for these girls. And, oh my God. We get a massage table delivered to the hotel. And I say to her, I got to go meet with the construction manager. When the table arrives, like, they'll call you, bring it up to the room, set it up, get sorted, and we're going to start training. Well, my spicy Italian is a little bit of a princess, and she doesn't bring it up. She asks the front desk manager to bring it up and set up a massage table in a frickin' hotel room with two ladies living there together for about a month already. Now we have men filtering in every hour on the hour, asking for me. Because we're training, we've got these babies, and the men are absolutely yelping, crying, screaming. So you can only imagine what these people at the Hampton Inn are thinking. We've just set up a massage table in a hotel room with two women living in this hotel room for like a month. And now we have men coming in on the hour, every hour, screaming and leaving.
What is going on
What
behind
is
that door?
going on? But that's how we had to do it. Like, where else were we going to do the training? We had to be like ready to go.
Yeah. When you cut the ribbon, you have to be able to wax the balls.
It was crazy. Erica, who's with us, who's back with us now, her interview and training was in a construction zone.
Yeah.
Like, we taped off a room to do all the training there.
Really?
Wow. Well, we all got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, start from the bottom.
So let's talk about some bad waxing experiences.
Well,
Jake.
where do we begin? Everyone thinks that waxing is easy.
Yes.
And honestly, I think going back to the education side of it a little bit first, before we get into some cheeky stories, is that a lot of the time in aesthetic school, perhaps you're just watching a demo, or you're just, seeing it being done. You're not getting the hands-on experience. And I know firsthand, because a lot of my training job was delivering demonstrations. So I'd make it look really easy, and people would get really excited, and they'd take notes, and then they'd be like, oh, no, I don't need to come to the hands-on class because I've got enough from the $99 demo that I've just attended, and think that they can recreate it.
Yeah.
So it's not quite that easy, and there has been many horror stories where cheeks have been stuck together.
Oh, yeah.
People have been getting haircuts in the room because you go to do an eyebrow wax and you drop a clump of hard wax in the person's hair. How's that going to come out? You've got to cut it out.
You get the blow dryer.
Exactly. We're just giving you a free blow wave today.
Wow, yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, lots of things can go wrong, definitely, with inadequate training. But for me personally, the worst thing that I've come up against is poor hygiene.
Oh.
Hence the introduction of
Between
baby
both
wipe.
cheeks.
Baby wipe between
Baby
both
wipes.
cheeks.
Yeah.
And this is something that's not taught either, is that how do you instruct your client to get ready for the treatment? What do you ask them to do? Do you just throw them in the room and say, take it off and I'll be right with you? Do you offer a wipe? Do you ask them to use the restroom?
How do you ask them to use the wipe?
And also not looking at them like, well, it looks to me like you're in gym clothes today, so I'll just leave these wipes here and you need to just have a bit of a freshen up before I come back in the room. And one early lesson for me was treat everyone the same, whether they look clean, dirty, otherwise, because you don't know what's going to happen when you put them on the table. And probably my worst story, and this is something that I do train all my girls on now, is how to get out of this situation. But not knowing about telling everyone to use the wipes, it was a very regular client, so I saw her every month and she was always being clean, so there's no problem to ever ask. But then we got to the underneath of the Brazilian, and at this point in time the only way I knew how to do it was to ask for knee to chest, which is a very popular way to do Brazilian waxing. So I asked her to bring her knees to chest. And then I saw something that I didn't want to see, so I asked her to put her legs back down. And I said, we're fine for today. The treatment's like finished, that's it. Put the lotion on and let her go. Thinking
You don't have hair over your butt today.
yeah, like
You did last month, but not this month.
I'm thinking
so
that she would go
got
home
good at it. Yeah.
and realize, oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed. I'm not as clean as I should have been. And then next time would be clean for me. But no, you have to treat all clients, as I said, like they are dirty and like they don't know how to get ready for the treatment. Because then she came back 4 weeks later because she was a regular client. And this time I was like, all right, so now we've implemented the wipe, so we're good to go. So I was like, okay, bring your knees to chest. And it was clean, so I waxed there. And then she said to me, you didn't do that last time.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
You had dingleberries
I didn't
last
want
time.
to embarrass her
Yeah.
by saying the area's not clean, I can't wax the area. And now she's trying to embarrass me and saying that I ripped her off part of her wax. So that's how I learnt early on, treat everyone the same, ask them all to prepare the same, and don't ever assume that they'll realise later why the area wasn't perhaps as clean as it should have been.
That's kind of crazy because with starting wax, one of the things that I noticed where I was going was they didn't have any wipes. They had nothing, right? So I used to pack my own wipes when I knew that I had an appointment, and I would go to the restroom, I would clean myself up, I would get on the table. And then obviously being friends with these ladies that now have their own businesses and hearing these horror stories from them all the time, it's very, very common. So when I opened up wax, it was just immediate that there was a modesty towel and there was baby wipes, and everyone was told how to get undressed and that they were to use the wipes. Like it was just protocol
mandatory. It's not
and
optional.
mandatory,
Someone
right?
else is seeing your genitals.
But it's really crazy that people didn't do it. Like we were the first ones in Vancouver that had wipes on the table. I would hire people and they would be like, "What are these for?" I'm like, "For you.
Yeah.
You're welcome."
Yes.
Yeah.
So you don't have to make a face when you.
Yeah.
It's
up their
really
towel and-
crazy. And I've heard estheticians say that they've just like waxed over it.
Yeah.
And just-
so this is the thing, and like coming into, you know, the modern day and age now, that was back when I was first learning. But even putting the baby wipe on the table and asking them to use it, there's no guarantee that they're going to use it.
Yeah.
So now I've started to implement into my training ways of showing people how to get out of that, and we actually just had one very recently. So a couple of things. Have your cornstarch powder on the station. If worst comes to worst, you can just hide it with the cornstarch. At least that will cover up some of the scent as well. And having a good quality hard wax. The soft wax won't allow you to do this. The soft wax, you're going to have to go in with your hand and the strip and remove whatever's in the area. At least with the hard wax, you can just whack it on. Actually put a strip over the top of the hard wax to cover up any scent as well. And then remove it, fold it, put it in the bin, and then you don't have to deal with it anymore. So that's something that needs to be taught as well, because, again, this is what scares people away from waxing, because you know, you're watching your educator do it in aesthetic school and it looks really easy and it's all glamorous, and Brazilians are just touched on, or you might watch a video if you're lucky, and then you're sent in to do it without any of this information around the fact that you're going to be dealing with bodily fluids, you know, genitals, difficult areas, and yeah, sometimes you just have to improvise, but without making your client feel uncomfortable. But you also, one of my famous sayings is, I don't get paid enough to deal with this. So we don't have to compromise what we're dealing with, but at the same time, we never want to make our client feel uncomfortable. So we need to have, you know, basically an exit plan to deal with.
An exit plan for their exit plan.
Yeah, exactly. For their exit plan. Exactly. So
Yeah, I mean, I've had conversations with clients early on in starting the business, and we can't take you when you've just come here from having a run.
yeah.
Like,
And again, what we think is common sense is not common sense to the end user, the consumer, the client.
They're not an esthetician. They don't have context.
Exactly. No.
They don't know.
So it's definitely explaining everything and having those hygiene procedures.
and that's what's kind of been cool about, again, like not being in the room, in the business, and more on the business is I've now taken the company to a level of more of an education training side of it. Like I almost feel like the two wax stores, Vegas and Vancouver, have become like training facilities for like development of product or training videos we're doing and stuff like that. And people will fly to us from everywhere to come train with Holly on how to do a painless Brazilian wax. Like that's the stuff that I'm so passionate about because I don't know the other side of the business. And obviously there's a massive need for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That the schools aren't teaching.
No.
Right?
That's right. And I think that brings us also to the fact of sharing with your peers.
Yeah.
And not feeling like we're in constant competition.
This is a major issue. This is a big issue in the industry. Like I said, last episode, I said I think there's a special place in hell for women that don't support each other.
Yes.
When I opened up Wax, I think it was a year after. We were busy. We were the first only waxing salon that specialized in male waxing in all of Canada. No one else was doing it. There was no franchise like European here. We were it. So who comes in? Competitors. You've got a good idea, they all come in. And I remember seeing, I can't remember if it came up on a Twitter or an ad somewhere. No, you know what? Excuse me. Oh, excuse me, the champagne's good. It came up on a job posting.
Yeah.
And it said, this company is now hiring for wax specialists, wax-experts. And we've trademarked.
Really?
Yes.
That close?
We trademarked Waxworks. And I was like, okay. So I drove down to their location, walked in the construction zone and introduced myself. And they were like, oh my God, how have you heard about us? Like, we're not even open yet. And I said, well, my name is Luba and I'm the owner of the original Wax Bar. And he took 3 steps back and told me to get out of his store. And I said, I only came by to introduce myself and welcome you to the industry.
Yeah.
It's a small world, it's a small industry, and we should all work together.
Yes, of course.
And he basically told me to piss off. And this is one thing that I really hate about the industry. And one thing that I want to try to break the mold in is we need to collaborate and not compete. What good does it make anything to share or to hide education or technique or anything? Like Holly wouldn't be where you are today if you weren't able to go travel around the world and share your experience.
Exactly.
And that everyone should feel that way. We developed an amazing wax that took 8 years. I went to 3 different countries and worked with 3 different chemists to come up with the perfect wax that I felt was perfect. What would I have gained by just keeping it in 2 stores? Why would I not share that with every other esthetician to be able to purchase it from me and be able to provide a painless
To
wax?
make our industry good again.
Yes.
Because, again, back to these people that are getting bad waxes, the clients that are getting bad waxes, guess what ends up happening? They just don't ever wax again.
Yes.
Yes, and they
don't
think it's
try
normal.
elsewhere.
Yes.
They just say, I can't wax, period.
My skin is too sensitive.
My skin is sensitive, period. I now shave, laser, do whatever. And we are losing their business all across the waxing industry, not just someone's personal store. The industry as a whole is losing their business. And this is what happens when we don't share what's new and good and works for us and our techniques as well.
Absolutely.
Really, there's enough to go around.
Yes.
There are 8 billion people on the planet.
This is a growing industry.
You are not going to steal everybody
No.
else's customers. It's about location and the people who work there and your brand
Products.
and your product.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into a brand and why you visit a business. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. So people get this misconception that I'm going to get my brows waxed and then I won't be able to go out for a week, but I'll be ready for my wedding the following week.
Yeah.
So I want to hear from Becca because she's come from like not the beauty industry.
Yes.
And tell us your story.
I'm on the consumer side, so
Yeah.
up until I worked for Wax, I was not a waxer. I was a shaver and a tweezer and a threader, and that was it. That was as far as I went. I didn't venture into laser. I was too young. But when I was younger, when I was a child and growing up in elementary school, I had a horrific unibrow. My brows can grow like a gorilla. Like, I go so hairy so fast all over, and my brows especially, they show up. And I moved around a lot, and so I was always the new kid, and I was horrifically shy, and I had a huge unibrow. And not just me being insecure, like, in photos now, if I am in the back row of a class photo, you can see very clearly the caterpillar that lived on my forehead. Like, so bad. So I was bullied because I was a very easy target. I was shy. I didn't talk to anybody. I stayed inside at recess. I went to the library and I had a unibrow. Of course, I'm the one everyone's going to pick on. Like, of course, I don't blame them now, but it was really hurtful at the time. And I would cry and I would go home and I was so upset. But I was 7, 8, 9 years old. What was my mom meant to do? She was not at all into beauty. She's not into the feminine kind of beauty care. So she wasn't going to touch them with tweezers. She knew she would make it probably worse than it was. So she would take me to nail salons because that's where you would go to get your waxing.
Don't we have a thing for that? Do we have like a boo for the nail salon?
Yes. Like
Yikes. Friends don't let friends get waxed at nail salons.
Yes. There we go. Yes. Mothers, don't take your daughters to a nail salon. But this was like 2004.
Oh, God.
So wax bars did not exist. It was a nail salon where you would go, or if you were lucky and you knew an esthetician who worked out of her room or out of her home, which my mom didn't even ever get her nails done. Like, she was like, oh, we go to a salon, we go to a nail salon. They do waxing. They have a glittery sign on their door that lights up LED that says waxing.
You'll be okay.
Yeah, you'll be fine. So she takes me all around town. Everywhere says, no, we can't do it. She's too young. It's too hot. It will hurt too much. And I would stand in the salons, and I remember this, crying and saying, it's okay. It doesn't matter how much it will hurt.
I just want it done.
I just want it done. Like, just make me pretty. I just want to feel better. Like, I felt so, so terrible. So I was about 15 when somewhere would finally let me get my eyebrows waxed for the first time. And now I know that they use soft wax, which is with the strip, and it's usually pink or creamy in color. And I got them done, and they looked great, but then a day later and for the rest of the week, my face was red and it was broken out.
Wow.
And it was like so bad. And my mother has eczema and my aunt has psoriasis, so I have really sensitive skin in my family. So I thought, oh, I just have sensitive skin. I can't get waxed. This is awful. You know, at that point, I wasn't getting teased anymore in high school. It was a lot better. I was like, I'm just going to get threaded from now on. This is fine. Like, it's annoying. It doesn't last as long, but still looks good. Whatever, I'll deal with it. I have 2 eyebrows instead of 1. And I thought that was it. I just thought that's what waxing was like. And I had all these friends that could wax and no problem. I was like, well, it must just be my skin. So it's just me. It's not not the wax or it's not the waxing.
Which is totally jogging my memory now, because when I first met you, I was like, come on, we need to do some waxing on you. And you're like, yeah, that's fine. What areas? And I was like, oh, let's just do your upper lip and eyebrow. I need to train one of the new girls. And you're like, I can't wax my face.
Yeah.
And this is coming from someone who's working the front desk in a waxing salon.
I was receptionist.
And I was like, sorry, what?
Yes.
And you're like, no, I can't wax my face. Now, this is coming from an employee, so how many times do you think I hear this from the end consumer that I meet at the various beauty shows and trade shows or wherever we are looking for models? The same thing, I can't wax my face. So ask a few more questions. Why can't you wax your face? What experience have you had? Where did you go? What type of wax did they use? What sort of reaction did you have? Use a high quality synthetic hard wax that is designed to reduce the redness, to reduce the pain, to still remove all the hairs without causing irritation. These things exist on the market, but if we don't do our research and we don't know what we're using, then we're going to continuously hear this same feedback. And we are losing our business to threading, and we are losing our business to laser because people think they can't wax.
Insert plug, go to waxhairremovalbar.com if you're a professional. Buy our synthetic hard and soft wax. It's incredible. It'll change your life.
I'll talk you through it, all about it. I'll go with you on email and talk to you on the phone.
But
it does make a difference.
And that's what we are now preaching. Like the last show that we did, Holly, in Vegas, like we talked about, you know, who can't wax in this room? And like 90% are like, oh yeah, my clients can't wax, I can't wax. No, like we've got it in our heads that you're gonna lift, you're gonna blister, you're gonna like it's normal. That is not normal.
And it shouldn't be that way, and it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm not just saying this because now I work here and they pay my bills, but really truly I get my eyebrows waxed now and it's fine, and I get my Brazilian wax everywhere.
But again,
now I wax every 4 to 6 weeks.
It's having the confidence in the products that are in your salon and in your wax spot, because if I didn't have that confidence to convince you to get on the bed to try it again, then you would have maintained that mindset. And it's the same for estheticians that don't really know what they're using. They've just always used it because that's what they've been told to use, or that's what their owner buys them, or that's what their friend recommended to them. So they don't really know what they're using, and then they just accept these answers of, I can't wax, and they're like, okay, well, customer knows best.
Yeah, I'll just tweeze 3 inches out and put a strip of nair right down my, right up my nose, and have a square taken out, and no, it happened,
But this is why too, like going back to the collaborate, don't compete. It's like if we don't share these stories, nobody knows, and everyone thinks that that's normal.
Yeah, they think it's
right?
normal.
That it's normal. And then you've got business owners out there that don't have the business sense on wanting to keep their company profitable and open for several years, as opposed to thinking like, bottom line today, how much money am I going to make? I'm going to go, I'm going to buy something for $5 and I'm going to do 80 Brazilians with it.
Well, bad wax will cost you more in the long run because of all the risks that we just mentioned. The redness, the irritation,
you're not
the
gonna
pain
have
factor,
repeat customers.
the amount of customers that say, I can't wax.
Yeah.
Well, if you're relying on waxing as your bread and butter in your business, guess what? Those customers are not going to come back and get waxed.
They're going to go buy a $6 razor.
You know, we think no news is good news, but necessarily with waxing, those clients are not going to call you back to complain.
No.
They just think
They'll go tell 10 friends.
yeah, they'll go tell everyone, oh, I went to that place and now look, I'm still red 5 days later. You know, maybe it's my skin or maybe it's that place, but they're not going to tell you that there's any sort of irritation. And the thing with using lots of natural pine resins, which is the cheaper, more affordable waxes that are on the market, is that as an esthetician, and this has probably been my biggest learning curve as a trainer, is that I'll be talking to estheticians that have used that same wax for 10 years, never had a problem, all of a sudden wax a regular client, and then they're like, something went really wrong, she went really red.
My cycle and a little more sensitive. The next day I literally was blistered. So but I called her, right? Like I've got a really great relationship with her, called her. She called all of her clients for that week. Every person had a reaction.
And you're the only one that
I'm
called
the only
her.
one that called.
Yeah.
She called the supplier, gave them the lot number. That entire batch sold worldwide because they're like the Coca-Cola of wax.
Yeah.
Had to all be recalled.
Yeah.
So
things can go wrong. At the end of the day, like you still have humans making the wax, so they might put the wrong thing in there, or something might go wrong with the batch, and unless someone reports it, like the end esthetician is not going to know that something's different.
no, not at all. And like you said, Holly, they'll blame themselves first. What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Am I a bad esthetician? Did I not do this right?
Yeah. And when this happens at a school level,
Oh my God. Yeah.
then what's the first thing that the student does? I'm going to finish my X amount of hours of waxing and never touch
do it
wax
again. And that's, I try to preach that to the schools because we try to sell our products into the schools. And because it's a higher quality, it comes at a higher price point. Mm-hmm. And the schools do not want to spend money. They want to keep it as cheap and profitable as possible. Mm-hmm. But I say
so
to them...
So therefore the students think that every waxer
is
in a touch is going to perform the same as the one that they use in school. Yeah.
So I tell them, and exactly what Holly said, if you have a student that's going to have an issue, and it's going to happen with students, for them to get back up on the horse is nearly impossible because they are petrified.
Yep.
If you use a synthetic resin, you have more flexibility with it, you have more room for error, it won't necessarily lift, bruise, burn, all of those things that you're dealing with an unstable resin.
Yeah.
So lesson is don't buy cheap shit.
You get what you pay for.
You
So
get
if
what
you
you pay
want
for.
confidence, buy wax.
Don't call us and ask us why our Brazilians are $53.
Yeah.
They're that price for a
tax.
reason.
You
If
pay
you would
for what you get.
a 20, we will be happy to redo your shitty wax when you go to the nail salon.
Yes, don't go to the back of the room. You shouldn't have to have a plastic curtain drawn across a rod.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
If you have to wear your sweatpants and your hoodie all tied up over your head to go get your wax, you're going to the wrong place.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. So that is another episode of Between Both Cheeks. Brazilians, I always change it. Brazilians, bucks, and buttholes today.
BBB.
On BBC. So I think now, okay, we're into our second one now. So talking about collaborate, not competing, I would like to kind of put it out there to all estheticians, customers, business owners. So basically we're looking for the business owners, the esthetician, and the eggs
Yeah.
to reach out to us. Send us a DM on Between Both Cheeks on our Instagram. Give us your questions that you have about anything, and we will
Any of your
read it.
day-to-day struggles, because we've all experienced them at one point or another.
Oh yeah, at Between Both Cheeks.
Yeah.
You
Or you
guys-
can email info@waxhairremovalbar.com.
Yeah.
And we can sort you out that way as well.
for sure, and make sure you check out our YouTube channel. Here's another episode done.